The first mistake I see many beginner F1 Clash players make, and I was guilty of this myself, is to use different tire compounds because you think that you have to. Like, take this race as an example. We're at Jeddah currently. It's a 4-lap race. I can do 2 laps on the soft. So maybe I would want to go soft. But now I have to do my first pit stop. And what many players would do now is they would pit to the medium tire because they think, hey, I have to switch tire compounds, right? So they take medium, although that's the slower tire. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that mistake. We're going to go soft. Both are drivers. So I'm heading into the pits with the soft tire, and now getting another set of softs, and that's going to be my last tire compound for this race. And you know, I get it. You get into F1 Clash when you're a fan of F1, and you think you're clever. You know, in real F1, there's a rule that you can't use the same tire compound or only one tire compound in an entire race. And it's clever of you to think that. You just have to know that in F1 Clash, that rule doesn't exist. You're totally free to pick whatever tire compound you want, and you can take the same tire compound for the entire race, if that's the best option. Like, if you're taking different tire compounds because you want to avoid a double stack, that's awesome. That's clever thinking as well. But if it's the best strategy to go soft with both stints, then you can do that. And the second mistake I see many beginner F1 Clash players make doesn't even take place in the race itself, but it happens in the main menu. And that's instantly claiming your rewards, although you maybe don't need them right now. And that's true for the pit pass rewards, although I don't have a reward that I haven't claimed yet, but it's also true for the rewards you get for upgrading. You can see right here, I got several rewards from the past that I just haven't claimed yet, and that's totally fine. Like here, for example, 1 day double coin. That's a super powerful reward that you want to use wisely. So if I upgrade something and it tells me you got a reward and you head into here, you can see what reward you got, and then you can decide, do you want to claim it or not? And if you don't want to claim it, you just don't click it, you press back, and then you can see claim rewards for. They're not going to get lost. It's all good. So you can use them whenever you want and use them wisely. And the third beginner mistake you want to avoid, and this is especially important for beginners, and that's avoid double stacking your drivers in the pits. Like, there's a lot of things you need to pay attention to, like strategy elements in F1 Clash, but like the most detrimental one to get wrong is double stacking your drivers. So like in this case, my Behrman is going to pit now, and my Bortoleto is going to pit. They're both on the same tire strategy. They're pretty close together, and now they're both entering the pits, and this is like the worst case scenario. So Bortoleto now pitting, and you can see Behrman standing behind him, and these are like so costly, 3, 4, 5 seconds. They're so costly to get wrong, and you're never going to make them back up in the race. And this is especially important for beginners because at the beginning, the races aren't that long. Like in this case, it's just 4 laps. So it's really easy to get a double stack because there's not as much time for the drivers to kind of distance themselves from each other. And also at the beginning, your pit stops are a lot longer than they are later in the game when your car is a lot better, because that reduces your pit stop time. So especially at the beginning, avoid double stacking your drivers. And to do that, you have 2 options. Okay, so let's try and do that right this time, heading in the next race, starting things over. And the first option you have is when it comes to your tire strategy. So option number 1 is putting them on different tire strategies. Like in this case, yes, it's 4 laps. Yes, it's maybe quicker for like each driver individually to go soft. But if I know that my drivers are closely matched on this track, maybe I just need to, you know, take the loss for one driver and put him on a different tire strategy. So now Bortoleto can do 3 laps on the medium and Behrman can do 2. And then you avoid the double stack altogether, and you don't have to worry about it throughout the entire race, and you can just push each driver as much as you want to, as much as they need to, so that it's beneficial to each drivers. Now, this is a great track as an example because it's really the quickest strategy is soft. So that's when you should maybe look into option 2. And option 2 is to not do what I'm doing right now. Let's imagine they're both on softs, and now I would only push Behrman and try and get him ahead, you know, use his energy storage And ideally, I want him to get some distance with Bortoleto being on the medium setting, because that's not too much slower, it's not terrible, and then you can keep the energy storage of your second driver for the first stint, have him, you know, have the first driver create a gap, and then in the next stint, the second driver has a full energy storage, and then he can use his energy storage in the next stint and make up all the time that he couldn't make up in the first stint. If you even have to go into power save mode, then it becomes like kind of difficult if it's actually worth it, or if you just should have put him on a different tire strategy. So now Bearman is going to pit this lap. Bortoleto, see this distance? It's not really enough. They're pretty close, and if you tap this icon on the top right, you can actually see the distance between your drivers. So yeah, that gap, probably not enough. So yeah, you can either play with the different power modes, or like in this case, on different tires, Bearman can do his pit stop. Bortoleto, it would have been a double stack, but in this case, through different tire strategy, I avoided it. This lap, Bortoleto can do his stop, and although he's wasting a bit of the tire because he's not going to do 2 laps on the soft, but you know, sometimes that's just what you got to do. So yeah, definitely try and avoid double stacking with one of these 2 options. And the fourth beginner mistake you should definitely try and avoid, because this could really ruin your race if you mess it up, and that's not looking at the weather forecast at the beginning and during the race. So at the beginning of the race, but also during the race, at the top of your display, there's going to be a weather forecast, and that's going to tell you with 100% accuracy when the rain is going to start. And that could totally impact your strategy. And I think it makes the race really exciting, like not just in real F1, but also in F1 Clash. So I always get excited when I see a rainy race, because even if it's not raining at the beginning and you're not starting with wet tires, it can already then impact your tire choice. Like maybe you would have gone 2 laps on the soft, but now you see that the rain is going to start in 3 minutes and 9 seconds. So you're maybe going to go to the hard tire and try and stay out as long as possible so that you can do a 1 stop until the rain comes. And there's a lot of strategy elements that you need to pay attention to. Like at the beginning, if you're just paying attention to the forecast and seeing that it will rain, you're already doing a lot better than many beginner players. But to leave you with one piece of advice that I think is most important when it comes to the rain strategy is when the rain stops, you shouldn't actually instantly change to dry tires. Just like in real life, the track needs some time to dry out, and in F1 Clash that usually takes about like 1 to 2 laps, and then you can actually change from wet tires to your dry tire of your choice. So keep that in mind in your next rainy race. And the fifth beginner mistake you should avoid is over upgrading your drivers and car components, because at the beginning you're going to unlock a lot of new drivers and a lot of new car components pretty quickly, and as soon as you unlock somebody new, you might feel tempted to go in there and instantly upgrade them as much as you can. And I mean, if that makes you happy, then sure, go for it, but it's not the best use of your coin, or the likelihood is that you're going to be missing those coins down the line as upgrades get more and more expensive. So what you want to do instead is you want to take a look at the stats, the track stats for your series. So for example, in Series 2, defending is the most important driver stat. Series 3, there's a couple of different driver stats. And then take a look at what driver you want to use, and then ideally stick with that, and then upgrade that driver. So as like a general guide for you at the beginning, as soon as you unlock Oliver Bearman from Series 3, you can go ahead and take him and upgrade him as much as you can, because you're going to be probably using him for a while. Like in my case, Oliver Bearman, I used him until Series 6, I think it was, once I unlocked the epic version of Oliver Bearman. So if you get drivers like that you can use actually for like several series, that's often the best use of your coins, because you don't have to feel the need to also, as soon as you unlock new drivers, to replace your old drivers. Like in this case, Oliver Bearman is actually better than all the Series 4 drivers, at least for the tracks in that series. So the epic version of Jack Doohan, like depending on the track, he can be better, but all the other common drivers in this series, they're all worse. So don't feel the need that you have to race in the series with the drivers from that series, especially the rare and epic drivers. they can sometimes be used for several series. So I hope that helps. And a little bonus mistake that you should try and avoid, and I don't know if happens very often, but it happened for me. You might be tempted if you have a race like this with 4 laps and you see like, wait, I can go 3 laps on the hard. You might be tempted to say, oh, just like in real F1, I'll go into power save mode, and then I for sure can stretch the hard tire to 4 laps. Like, I thought I was clever when I was doing this because I thought, you know, in real F1, drivers are basically always driving in like power save mode or conserving their tires to do as little amounts of pit stops as possible. But in F1 Clash, very often, like as a general rule of thumb, it's not worth it to stretch the tires really far by driving in power save mode for basically the entire time. Because you can already see here, although my Bearman is actually the better driver than Bortoleto, just after the first couple corners, he is already falling behind so much. And even if I can avoid a pit stop by doing that, I'm losing so much time on track driving in power save mode. As a rule of thumb, it's probably never gonna work. So if you think like, hey, real F1, they're doing that, in F1 Clash, most of the time it's quicker to just do 2 pit stops and then drive in your normal medium setting or even be able to push. Which, you know, you could argue it's not realistic, but I think this is actually like way cooler. Like, it is a game after all, and this is way more exciting. And don't we all wish that in real F1 that would also be the case, that the drivers wouldn't have to save their tires the entire time, and actually doing 2-3 pit stops is the faster, more exciting strategy. So yeah, that was my little bonus tip for you. Okay, but that about wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it and got some value out of it. And in the end, let's not forget, it's a game after all. It's made to have fun. So even if you don't manage to avoid all these mistakes from now on, I hope first and foremost you're going to have fun in your next F1 Clash race. So hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.